Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome to my video. My name is Sabah and I am your physics teacher from United Public School Tandoor. And this was 8th class physics, and we are still discussing our second chapter, that is friction. In friction, we have discussed some of the topic in our earlier classes, and today's our main topic was increasing and reducing friction. Before going to our main topic of today's video, let us just recall our previous class topics. That is, we have discussed about the force of friction, that is also called as frictional force, and the types of friction, increasing, reducing, factors affecting friction. This review has completed, and the increasing and reducing friction we will discuss in today's class. If possible, we will discuss the necessary evils also. What is increasing and reducing frictions? Sometime we need to increase the friction, so to avoid the slipping of object, to avoid this object slipping of object, we need the increased friction. And sometimes in order to have a smooth movement of an object, we need to be reduce friction. But sometimes for the movement of the object, the smooth movement of the object, we need to reduce the friction. And you know what, the substance which reduces frictions is called lubricants, and these are the some of the substances which used in reducing friction. The boric powder on carom board, when we play a carom board, we sprinkle some of the powder on it for the smoothness of the surface. We will sprinkle that powder is nothing but boric powder. And the oil and the grease are the some of the lubricants. Okay, and here is the definition of the increasing and decreasing friction. First of all, increasing friction. Friction can be increased deliberately in situation where it is necessary, which means in necessary and desirable situation, friction can be increased, and friction can be decreased deliberately in situation where it is undesirable. In situation of undesirable, unnecessary situation, friction can be decreased. According to the situation, it can be increased and it can be decreased, as we discussed in our factor affecting friction in the earlier topic now. And friction is depend upon the nature of the surface, as we discussed last class. It depend on the nature of the surface, which is, if the surface is rough, friction will be increases, and if the surface is smooth, friction will be decreases. Friction is because of the nature of the surface. One main common way to increase the friction is to make the surface rough. So if you have a smooth surface and you want to increase the friction, just make the surface rough by pouring some powder or something which is rough in nature. You can pour that and make a surface rough, right? And some of the examples of increasing friction was treated tire and the treated shoes. First, treated tire. What the treated tires are the tires of the vehicles, which we won't see. If you observe the tires closely, you will see actually that they have a ridges and the grooves. You will see that the surface of the tire has some designs or the pattern which is very rough in nature. The designs and the patterns which is present on the tire, now those designs makes the tire rough or uneven, which means, and that rough surface of the tire helps the vehicle to move well on the road, to make a grip and move well on the road. Then the chances of slipping will be less. Okay, And there is another example, that is straighted shoes. As you can see in this picture, the shoes has some ups and downs, and the tires also. The tires has some designs and patterns. They have ups and downs. It is not smooth. The tires and the shoes have ups and downs, which makes to hold a grip on from the object and the surface. Okay, to avoid the slipping. The shoes are the one main example from we can take that we will never see the lower part of the shoes. If you see the lower part of the shoes closely, we will observe that they have a ridges and the grooves. These ridges and the grooves make the shoes rough, make the surface of the shoes rough, so to avoid the slipping of object. Okay, because when you are walking, you should have grip on the road or on the floor where you are walking, or otherwise you might slid and fall. Okay, to avoid the sliding, to avoid the slipping, you have this object must have roughness. So that why lower part of the shoes had some lower part of the shoes has got some ridges and rows, so that you can have a grip of the road. Similarly, it is advisable that they are the normal shoes that you can wear outside. Should not these shoes should not be wear in the bathrooms. The bathroom and the washroom slippers are different. Why they are different? Because they are made up of rubbers, which have a grip even on the wet floor. On washrooms and bathroom, the floor was very wet, so to hold the grip of the object and the surface, the rubber plays an important role. So the washrooms and bathroom slippers was different from outdoor slippers. Rubber can have a grip, it can be increased friction on the wet floor. So what washroom slippers are different from the outdoor slippers. These rubber slippers of washrooms are meant. These are specially meant for the for increasing friction during when we are in washrooms. And next come to the examples of reducing frictions. That is, first of all, applying powder on carom board. As I said, we will sprinkle some powder on carom board, that is called as a lubricant. The powder is the boric powder. We will sprinkle now. Then what happened? The counter can easily, the counters on the board can easily slide. Why easily slide? Because we want to reduce the friction. So what, we put some powder on the board. If there is no boric powder, there is no powder, if the board is completely dry, it will not be able to move on the board. So that why you put the powder on that, it will become slippery. To make slippery is to reduce friction. What is reduce friction? To make slippery, which means making slippery is nothing but reduce friction. And another example of reduce friction is applying grease in machinery parts. If you apply grease, the surface will turn to smooth, and therefore friction will be reduced. Sometimes in our homes, the doors or the window pans, they starts making a lots of noise. Why do they make a noise? Because of friction, which will come when you close the door and open the door. They will make a noise because of friction only, because the surface are moving over one another, mostly in joints, in the joints of the areas of the door, jointing areas of the door. If you apply some oil substances like grease or oil something, you will observe that the noise will disappear after that, which means friction has been reduced by the application of oil or the grease. Okay, And another example of reducing friction is streamline reduces air friction. That is the car, the streamline which has the shape of the some objects or some things, some objects are different, which means these types of shape, these types of shape is streamlined, as I said, in fluid friction. So car, aeroplanes and birds has streamlined shape because to when the car moves on the road, it will tear the air and it will move on the road. By tearing the air, it will move on the road, and by that only friction will be reduces. Similarly, in aeroplane also, when they flying on the air, the aeroplane also tear the air and fly in the air, as well as birds are all in the same manners, in the same manner. By this we have completed the increasing and the reducing friction. In the later class we will discuss about the necessary evil, how the friction is necessary and how it is in evil for us. And students, this is our today's homework. Quickly take a screenshot of this and complete it by the time. Okay, quickly take a screenshot of this image. Okay, thank you.